Okay, we're finally back at it, and this time around I'm finally getting to the review of Tierra, as seen here from the frame for first album. The newest album being Whack World. Actually, let me correct. Whack World was the first album here with the B face. Worldwide Whack is the new album. It gets a bit confusing with the names. That's why I'm still kind of remembering which one's which now at this point, but yes. So Worldwide Whack is the new album, 2024. I just got done listening to it on the way back home from dropping my fiance off from work, so I figured I would give my fresh thoughts on my revisit. I talked about on the channel a few times how I was probably going to make this one the longest review so far, next to the Mother Mother album review, and I think I still stand by that because I have a lot to say about this album. So starting off with the first song, Mood Swing. It's kind of a soft intro. Most of the theme of this first song is her talking about, like, my mom's getting sick of my mood swings, stuff like that. And from kind of reading some of the reviews and, like, interviews that she's had around it, it seems like she was definitely in, like, a certain headspace making this album, like, kind of more down-tempo, kind of more... I'm gonna get my smoothie, excuse me. Kind of more self-reflective, definitely more depressed as the album goes on. It gets kind of dark, but I still really enjoy it. But Mood Swing's kind of like a soft intro, pretty down tempo, transitioning right over into Misbehave, which off of the first two songs, as the album continues on, most tracks, I think outside of like maybe two, end with like this piano that like off and on will be like actually played notes or like good notes, and then like some just like slamming the keyboard. So it's interesting how as the songs go on, like the piano kind of transitions from like being really good to kind of just like mindlessly slamming it. But from Mood Swing to Misbehave, I believe it's one of the first instances we have like a bit of light piano transitioning over into Misbehave, which Misbehave is one of the first ones that remind me most of this first album, where kind of more upbeat, still kind of somber tones in the messaging, but the beat itself and the song's message is like, I can never behave, oh, but I'm gonna be late. It's very catchy. Most of this album is very catchy. Out of these two so far, I would definitely say Misbehave is my favorite of these early tracks, which transitions into the first single that we got from the album, Chanel Pit. I'm pretty sure there's a music video that came out a few months ago, if not like at the end of last year, where she's like going forwards and backwards through a car wash, just like sitting in a chair, and the car wash is like happening at her, like just like all the bubbles, and then the air comes down on her face. It's a pretty cool music video. I'd recommend it. I'm pretty sure Chanel Pit, 27 Club, and Shower Song are the three singles on here. Yeah, there's only 3 out of the 15 singles. Chanel Pit transitions over into Numb, which is definitely where we get start getting the most saddest and somberest of the songs. Numb is all about like, I've been numb since I was young. Tell me what I could have done different. And yeah, as somebody who's transgender and queer, growing up, like, kind of just become numb to a lot of anger, a lot of people like ridiculing you, othering you. I don't doubt that other people in life experience things similar to this, even if you're not queer, even if you're not non-binary or trans. But the feeling of othering by anybody kind of makes you kind of try to slowly get numb to it. And especially if you're online a lot, you just kind of get numb to a lot of comments. But it's okay to feel things. It is. It's good to have songs that reflect that feeling of numbness, but it's okay to feel things. That transitions into Burning Brains, which is another, like, still kind of keeping that mellow pace of, like, I'm pretty sure it says something like, I'm pretty sure I feel this way because of drugs. Drugs get brought up on this album a few times as well. I don't have much to say for Burning Brains. I've heard it a few times now, and I don't have big lasting impressions on it. That transitions it over into Accessible, which is one I'm still kind of unpiecing because the main chorus of Accessible is like, you're too accessible, so I have to let you go. Which I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. As somebody who, like, I appreciate when my partners are, like, there for me and, like, I feel like I can contact them and I'm communicative. I've never had somebody be too accessible. So it's a bit of a confusing one, but I do like the song nevertheless. It's just the messaging itself is a bit odd. That, like, I feel like it's okay to be accessible to people. Anyways, that transitioned over to Imaginary Friends, which, yeah, I would say the tone of the album all the way through so far up to track 6 is like indie pop. Yeah, I mean, most indie pop rap. Kind of my main 3 genres on this. Imaginary Friends is all about, like, because this is the silliest song on the album so far. It's all about, like, I have a friend whose name is Tony. He wears blue Sauconys. He's my only friend because the rest of y'all don't know me. It's very silly and kind of written in that childish demeanor manner, but still giving that somber tone of, like, oh, like, my only friend is my imaginary friend. So I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah, that kind of sends over to X, which is getting to the next most upbeat part of the album. X is all about talking about her ex, being like, just delete my phone number. Yeah, I wish I never met you, things like that. But it's got the most bombastic beat on the album, I'd say, so far, next to Misbehave, and I wouldn't even say Chanel Pit, but Chanel Pit has more upbeat feeling. Then we move over to Movies, which is my favorite song on the album. You never take me to the movies. I'm a foodie boy. Enjoy. It's such a good song. Easily one of my favorites of the year so far. I've been heavily rotating on that one. I get it's just a straight pop song, but I don't care. I'm a big pop girly. I'll take just a straight pop song. I like me a good straight pop song if it's done well. I don't mean like as in like straight. I'll take me a gay pop song too. That transitions over to Difficult, which also is a big heavy favorite. There's a good string of songs here in these, from Movies to Difficult to Shower Song. Difficult's all about living is difficult. That's the whole chorus. It's just, life is hard. And even if you suffer through it, like, just kind of know that everybody does at some point. Have their own things they have to overcome, but you can overcome it. And I think that's really hopeful and needed for some people that I get really down. I know I've been kind of down dealing with some things in the past week or two, but you know, everybody does at some point, so you just gotta kind of press on. And then Shower Song, which was one of the first singles, I'm pretty sure, if not the first one. It's all about how I sound great when I'm singing in the shower. Soap and water give me powers. I've shown my fiance's mom this song. She really loved it. It's very upbeat, very wholesome. It's another straight pop one, but I would say you show this song to anybody, and it's so cute. If anybody doesn't like it, I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? This song is so cute. The next two, I don't have a lot to say about, I'll be honest. Invitation and Snake Eyes. Invitation has a funny intro where it's like, it's one of the few, it's like, I think it's the only skit on the album where there's a guy that pops in and is like, Tierra Whack, I think I've heard her songs. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, more like an air conditioner. And then kind of transition over into the song. And I'm like, okay, you know, that's pretty funny. There's some pretty funny lines on it too, like, I just spent 2,000 on a rug. I fell asleep in the club. The vocalization. So one thing about Tierra Whack's delivery throughout this whole album, I will say, that I haven't really touched on yet, is that her vocalizations on all her songs is just so unique. It reminds me a lot of, like, the way Kendrick Lamar will pitch up and down to give effect to a song, and she does that a lot, of like having that good medium femme voice of like her singing, but then like kind of pitching down, like, I just spent 2,000 on a rug. It's really deep, doing some pitch shifting and vocalization, and then I can even hear some things and like in post being pitched to make a certain sound, which I really like. I like when an artist kind of plays around with the vocalization on a song. Snake Eyes, I literally just heard it less than like 30 minutes ago, and I can't really remember it. I remember liking the beat, just lyrically, it doesn't really stand out to me. It's just one where I'm like, as the album rides through, I'll let it transition through, but most of the time, I could not point out to you what this song is about. Tonight, right before the end, I've heard this song a good few times. This one also really, really hit me. It's the last two songs are pretty brutal emotionally. I might die tonight, but before I go, have to let you know. Didn't pay the light bill this month. And just the kind of dark comedy of this album really is at its peak of like what kind of shine through in bits and other of her songs and albums really peaks through here and like cuts through in a certain way with it. I really love, honestly, of like kind of masking that sadness with comedy, or masking that pain with like a bit of humor tinged in there. Yeah, most of the song is just about how she's like, death is unexpected and it come for you any day, but you know, you should know that, and you should kind of be reassured that people in your life will be able to move along route without you, but be there for them while you can, and just make more mistakes, live your life while you can, because you never know when it'll be gone. Which I really like that. I really like these last two songs as a messaging on that. And then 27 Club. Wild of her to drop not only the last track on the album as a single, but like a song like this, where the song is all about like, I can show you how it feels when you lose what you love, looking for something to commit to suicide. Which when that first dropped in, I was like, what? Oh shit, are you okay, bud? And the chorus keeps going on, Coach has me running suicides. And I'm like, okay, so is it like a play on that? But as the chorus ends, she's like, got a gun to my head, don't tempt me. And I'm like, oh, this is really about like, I mean, the song title also kind of points to that, but the 27 Club being like, a lot of artists and musicians die at 27, either by drug overdoses or suicide or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty intense last two tracks to really lead us out on, but like, I can't say I hate it. Like, every time I end the album, I feel like this pit in my stomach and my heart. I'm like, oh, I don't feel good about how this album ends, but I can't say I don't like it. Like, it leaves me on a note where like, I still want more, but I don't see how any other way this album could have ended. So since Tierra only has 2 albums out, what I was going to transition over into was talking about how this kind of racks up in her discography of like, she has this album of like 37 minutes long. She has Whack World, which is only like 19 minutes long. It's a short film. I would say just go to YouTube and type in Tierra Whack World, watch it all in one sitting. It's an amazing watch. Every song's like a minute and a half long. And 3 EPs, pop, R&B, pop, R&B, and rap. Which if you put all of them in the playlist like I have and play them together, it's also like 28 minutes. So honestly, if you really got into her and wanted to take a day, just line all 3 of those up together. It's like a 3.5 hour listen, and you pretty much listen to all her music that's out. Which, outside of singles, that'd be basically everything, the major projects. How this lines up with everything else, pretty great, honestly. I would say my favorite thing she's done so far, and still kind of in my ranking for top 3, if not number 1 album of the year. It might boost back up for number 1 for me right now, and then it's still very much tied with Mother Mother's album. Grief Chapter, that's the name of that album. Yeah. That's kind of most of what I had to say for this album. It didn't end up coming out as long as I thought, but while we're here, let's kind of talk over what I want to cover next. So I've kind of been reviewing that. I told you I wanted to cover more like non-binary artist, transgender artist, genderqueer artists, specifically more non-binary and genderqueer artists, because that's who I relate to the most. So I think going forward, I'm going to review one Give Us Tumor album. You haven't heard of them? They're like indie rock. I wouldn't say pop. They're a little too weird for pop. Indie rock would be the biggest fit. Might cover a Dorian Electra album. I'll see which one I feel the most. And then let me check and see who else has come out recently. Maybe eventually the Left at London Transgender Street Legend as a full project. There's part 1, part 2, part 3. I might just cover it all as one together project because it does play together as one project. I want to talk about the newest Kim Petras album because Jesus fucking Christ, I have a lot to say about how far she's fallen. Love you, babe, but it's that the music has gone a little bit downhill. Beginning into 84, 85, might talk about her a bit more. Really loving Underscores, I want to get into that. And then the most recent Slater album. And then maybe eventually I'll move on to Ethel Cain. Out of those, leave some comments if you want to kind of pick one out and see which one you'd rather see first, hear first. Yeah, other than that, I should have this video edited, uploaded every Friday. I'm going to try to make my deadlines now, so I get one out every Friday. Maybe try to do some more background visuals, kind of practice doing edits for the video. But yeah, let me know in the comments of any albums you like, want to review. What's your favorite album of the year? Please like and subscribe if you like hearing some album reviews, song reviews, video content. Oh, one other segment I wanted to add to the channel was going to be, I want to do the art of music, like album art, single art, art commissioned for albums that never fully got released on the album, like unreleased arts, or ones that were made but then switched last minute. I just really love the art, of music, and sometimes that can really change how I view an album going into it. So, I'm going to talk over that, kind of make that a recurring segment. And then, off and on, I'll probably end up making more rantathons, which, if you want to go back and listen to that, I have one up on the channel already, over, how I was trying to kind of listen to some newer albums that came out, but I couldn't really get over how, I still can't really get over how there's just so much misogyny in rap and newer music that I wish we didn't have to deal with as much, but it's kind of still rampant, and it really fulfills me when I find some artists that can go about their, some male, I'll say it, male artists and go about their music without putting down women. Other women can also put down women in rap, and I've seen it happen. It just doesn't happen nearly as much. So, honestly, if you got any good female rappers out there, or any good, I'll say this, you got any good gay, trans, non-binary, genderqueer, female artist, rappers, anybody out there that you feel like you really love, send it my way. I would love to hear it. I love suggestions. And I think that'll call it for today. It didn't end up being as long as I thought, but honestly, compared to how much I really had to say and how passionate I was about Grief Chapter, I think I've kind of convinced myself in this video that that's still my favorite of the year. And this one's probably going to be like number 3 or 4 underneath MGMT's newest album, which I also want to get to eventually on this channel, and just kind of want to put my other queer artists forward first, and then I might eventually get to that by the end of the year sometime. Yeah. Love y'all. Like and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.